When integrity meets malice, the quiet revolution, Black women are leading without permission. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Tarlisha Cooper, a woman whose quiet strength and unwavering integrity are not just reshaping what it means to lead, to build, and to rise with dignity in spaces that were never designed for us to thrive, but she is fundamentally rewriting the rules of entrepreneurship itself. Tarlisha Cooper is teaching us that when integrity meets malice, when grace confronts deception, when truth stands face to face with hidden agendas, we don't have to mirror the darkness. We can choose to remain whole. We can choose to be soft. We can choose to let our standards, not our scars, define our success. And in doing so, she is making the world a better place, one boundary at a time, one business decision at a time, one dignified choice at a time. What Tarlisha shared with me isn't just a testimony, it's a blueprint. It's a roadmap for every high achieving Black woman who has ever walked into a room where loyalty was tested without warning, where words were used as weapons, where intentions were anything but pure, and still chose to stay grounded in truth. Let me start with something Tarlisha said that stopped me in my tracks. She said, being a woman of integrity means I do what is right when no one is watching, and even more when they are. I don't allow bitterness to reshape my character or pain to harden my heart. Now, let that settle for a moment. Because in a world that rewards the loudest voice, the sharpest elbow, the quickest hustle, Tarlisha is reminding us that there is power, deep power, in staying true to who you are, even when the people around you are not. She has encountered people who moved with deception, who smiled in her face yet carried hidden agendas. And still, she refused to mirror that behavior. Instead, she leaned into grace, wisdom, and self control. Her life is not defined by the malice she's faced, but by the standards she's upheld despite it. And here's the thing, sis, that's not weakness. That's not naivety. That's not being soft in the way the world tries to weaponize that word against us. That is strength. That is clarity. That is the kind of power that protects your peace and elevates your purpose. Tarlisha told me, integrity has been my covering and my compass. It has protected my peace and elevated my purpose. I've learned that staying true to who I am is more powerful than reacting to who others choose to be. Now, I want you to think about that in the context of what we know about Black women in entrepreneurship, because the data tells a story that mirrors Tarlisha's testimony in the most profound way. Black women are leading the charge in new business creation in this country. We are starting businesses at a rate faster than anyone else. We are turning our pain into purpose, our survival into strategy, our dreams into enterprises. But here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. We are also facing what researchers are now calling the concrete ceiling, not the glass ceiling, concrete, because glass you can see through, glass you can shatter. But concrete is thick, it's heavy, it's compounded, it's systemic, and it's designed to keep us small, undercapitalized, and stuck, no matter how brilliant our ideas, no matter how strong our ambition, no matter how relentless our hustle. Let me paint you a picture of what this really looks like on the ground. Across the United States, Black women are walking out of corporate America in record numbers, not because we lack ambition, not because we can't lead, but because we hit a wall so thick, so impenetrable, that we realized the only way forward was to build our own tables. We left boardrooms where our voices were silenced, where our promotions were passed over, where our brilliance was consistently undervalued. And we said, if they won't make room for me, I'll make my own room. So we started businesses, consulting firms, beauty brands, tech startups, wellness practices, creative agencies. We poured our severance packages, our savings, our hopes, our dreams into these ventures. We worked nights and weekends. We sacrificed time with our families. We bet on ourselves when no one else would. And you know what happened? We hit another ceiling, this one made of concrete. According to the Wells Fargo Impact of Women Owned Businesses report, Black women owned employer firms, the ones that actually hire people and create jobs, average $650,000 in revenue. That's the lowest of any demographic. Not because we lack vision, not because we lack work ethic, but because we lack access to capital, access to networks, access to the rooms where decisions are made and deals are done. Think about that for a moment. We are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in America, yet we are the most undercapitalized. We are creating businesses at rates that should be celebrated on magazine covers and in economic journals. Yet, we are systematically denied the resources that would allow us to scale. The barriers are everywhere. When we walk into banks seeking loans, we're more likely to be denied than any other group. When we pitch to venture capitalists, we receive less than 1% of all venture funding. When we try to access business networks, we find doors closed, introductions withheld, opportunities gatekept. And here's where the malice comes in, because this isn't accidental. This isn't just about implicit bias or unconscious discrimination. This is structural, this is intentional. This is a system that was designed to extract our labor, our creativity, our brilliance, while simultaneously denying us the capital and support we need to build generational wealth. But here's what they didn't count on: they didn't count on our integrity. They didn't count on our refusal to mirror their malice. They didn't count on women like Tarlisha Cooper, who looked at a system designed to break her and said, I will not be broken. I will not become bitter. I will not sacrifice my values to play a rigged game. Because that's the revolutionary part. That's the part that challenges everything we've been taught about how to succeed in America. We've been told that in order to make it, especially as Black women, we have to be twice as good, work twice as hard, and never let them see us sweat. We've been told that softness is a liability, that grace is a weakness, that if someone comes at you with malice, you better come back harder, that the only way to win is to play by their rules, even if those rules were designed to ensure we lose. But what if that's the lie? What if the real power, the sustainable power, the kind of power that builds legacy and not just revenue, is in choosing integrity even when it costs you? What if the real revolution is in refusing to mirror the malice? What if the real breakthrough is in staying soft, staying grounded, staying true, even when the world is trying to harden you? Let me tell you what's happening in places where Black women are choosing this path. In the Twin Cities, something remarkable is unfolding. Black women entrepreneurs there are fundamentally redefining what success even looks like. Between 2019 and 2024, women founded businesses in that region surged by 69%. And nearly half of all new businesses started in 2024 were founded by women. But here's what makes this story different: these women aren't just chasing revenue, they're not just trying to replicate the traditional business models that excluded them in the first place. They're building something entirely new. They're prioritizing community over competition. They're prioritizing wellness over wealth accumulation. They're prioritizing collaboration and intergenerational entrepreneurship over cutthroat individualism. They're saying, I'm not going to sacrifice my mental health to scale. I'm not going to abandon my values to fit into a traditional business model that was never built for me in the first place. I'm not going to work myself into exhaustion to prove I belong in spaces that were designed to exclude me. And you know what? That's revolutionary. Because in a world that tells us to hustle harder, grind longer, sacrifice more, these women are saying, no, I'm going to build something that honors my whole self. I'm going to create a business that allows me to rest, to breathe, to be soft, and still be successful. I'm going to redefine what winning looks like because the old definition was killing us. That's the soft girl era in action, sis. That's what it looks like when you refuse to let malice reshape your mission, when you refuse to let deception dictate your direction, when you refuse to let systemic barriers steal your joy. These women are reshaping workplace culture. They're creating businesses where mental wellness isn't just a perk, it's a foundational value, where collaboration isn't just encouraged, it's required, where success is measured not just by profit margins, but by social impact, by community transformation, by the number of other women lifted up along the way. And here's what the research shows: this isn't just feel good rhetoric, this is strategic genius. Black women who prioritize purpose over profit, who build businesses rooted in community and wellness, who refuse to sacrifice their values for venture capital. They're not just surviving, they're thriving. They're building businesses that last, that matter, that make the world better. They're creating economic models that are more sustainable, more ethical, more human than the extractive capitalism that's dominated for generations. Because here's the truth that Tarlisha Cooper embodies: integrity is not just a moral choice, it's a strategic one. It's a compass that protects your peace and elevates your purpose. It's a covering that keeps you whole, even when the environment is trying to break you. Tarlisha told me something else that I can't stop thinking about. She said, I remained whole in environments that tried to break me, and I continue to rise with dignity, clarity, and unwavering truth. Whole, not perfect, not unscathed, but whole. Because here's the truth: integrity doesn't mean you never get hurt. It doesn't mean you never face betrayal or disappointment or systemic injustice. It means you don't let those things define you. It means you don't let bitterness become your business plan. It means you don't let malice become your mirror. And that's the counterintuitive idea I want to leave you with today. We've been taught that softness is weakness. We've been taught that grace in the face of malice is naivety. We've been taught that the only way to survive in a hostile world is to become hostile ourselves. But what if staying soft is the most disruptive thing we can do? What if maintaining our integrity in spaces designed to corrupt us is the ultimate act of resistance? What if choosing grace when faced with malice is not weakness, but the highest form of strategic power? Because when you choose integrity, you protect something more valuable than market share. You protect your soul. When you choose grace, you build something more lasting than quarterly profits. You build legacy. When you choose to stay whole, you create something more powerful than any venture backed unicorn. You create a life worth living. The data backs this up. Business support organizations across the country are now recognizing that the old models don't work for Black women entrepreneurs. They're creating new frameworks focused on capital fluency, long term peer learning, technology adoption, and sustainable growth strategies. They're recognizing that Black women don't need to be fixed. The system needs to be fixed. And while we wait for systems to change, while we push for policy reforms and equitable access to capital, we have a choice to make every single day. We can choose to mirror the malice or we can choose to be the change. So here's my question for you, sis. In your next encounter with malice, whether it's a deceptive business partner, a toxic work environment, a venture capitalist who undervalues your vision, a system that seems designed to keep you small, what will you choose? Will you mirror their agenda? Will you let their malice reshape your mission? Will you sacrifice your integrity to play their game? Or will you do what Tarlisha Cooper does? Will you let your integrity be the compass that elevates your purpose? Will you choose grace, wisdom, and self control? Will you stay true to who you are, even when no one is watching, especially when they are? Because I'm telling you, when you make that choice, when you choose to remain whole in environments that try to break you, when you rise with dignity, clarity, and unwavering truth, you don't just change your life, you change the world. You become a living example of what's possible when we refuse to let systems define us. You become a blueprint for the next generation of Black women entrepreneurs who are watching, learning, waiting to see if it's possible to build something meaningful without selling your soul. You become proof that there is another way. So today, right now, I'm challenging you to make a choice. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, choose one area of your life where you've been mirroring malice instead of maintaining integrity. Maybe it's a business relationship where you've compromised your values to keep the peace. Maybe it's a work environment where you've dimmed your light to fit in. Maybe it's an internal narrative where you've let bitterness reshape your character or pain harden your heart. Choose that one area and commit right now to letting your integrity be your compass. Commit to choosing grace over reaction. Commit to protecting your peace as a practice. Commit to letting your standards, not your scars, define your success. Because the world doesn't need more Black women who've learned to survive hostile environments by becoming hostile themselves. The world needs more women like Tarlisha Cooper, women who remain whole, women who rise with dignity, women who prove that staying soft is not weakness, but the most powerful form of resistance. The revolution isn't in mirroring their malice, the revolution is in maintaining our integrity. The revolution is in staying soft when the world demands we harden. The revolution is in building businesses, building lives, building legacies that reflect our values, not their violence. So go out there and be revolutionary. Let your integrity be your compass. Let your grace be your power. Let your softness be your strength. And watch not just your peace rise, but your purpose. Watch not just your business grow, but your impact. Watch not just your life transform, but the world around you shift because you refused to mirror the malice and chose instead to be the change. That's the soft girl era. That's the quiet revolution. Black women are leading without permission. And sis, you're invited, you're needed, you're ready. Now go be whole, go be soft, go be revolutionary.